Hi guys, back for DnD Tales 6. Thanks again for all the likes and subs. Once a mother. My padlock, half-orc captain in the nation's military, snuck up to a lone bandit. She notices that this bandit is not even a young adult yet, classic red tiefling, and that he is malnourished, and his sword is terribly maintained. GM meant to make a point that the access where the rest of the bandits were lurking could be easily accessed by taking care of this one individual. So rather than outright killing him, she grapples him from behind and gives him a 19 rolls worth of her intimidating lecture and interrogation. She grills the poor kid on how stupid it was for him to be standing here alone, not paying attention, working for a band of criminals to get by when the nation's military was always accepting recruits while providing good pay. Then offered him a position when he had no good answer. By the end of that particular venture, I've literally adopted a very young tiefling who had just drawn poor cards in life. Taught him how to properly sharpen a sword and gave him cooking duty for the party. He was really good at it. His name was Derek. Squire Derek Potato. He legitimately became a focal point in my character's arc. A cold shot on his what? My group was after a band of especially slippery thieves with a fat price on their head who'd evaded capture with rings, cloaks and other magic devices of invisibility. They bought trained tracking hounds to find their camp and strew caltrops all around it before calling in reinforcements. Only a handful escaped the PCs and the men-at-arms led by the local sheriff, climbing to the top of a skyscraper-sized tree. Everyone wanted them captured right the hell now. So the axe-wielding barbarian starts chopping, a couple men are sent to draft help, another couple to block off a local road it was going to fall across. Suddenly I tell one PC to make a check to dodge something falling from above. Instead he raises his shield and gets it splattered by something truly foul. The bandit leader, lacking anything else to drop on them, had decided to undo his magic belt and poop on them. Player 1, the fighter who just got splatted, saved against instantly throwing up. I look up and squint. Do I see him? Yep. For a moment you can just see the hairy pair of buttocks that have just unleashed a blob of poo on your shiny new shield. The defiant laughter from their owner echoes down from somewhere above. Player 2, a half-elf ranger. He's visible? I got this. Cold shot on his asshole. Crickets chirping. What? You heard me. Cold shot on his asshole. If I can hit a bullseye on an archery target, I'm gonna hit his bullseye on a good shot. Let's see if he finds that funny. Everyone else, roll it, roll it. He rolled. And of course gets a 20, sending the bandit leader screaming to the ground. I have to say that lying on the ground in a pool of blood, pants down with an arrow's fletching sticking out your chocolate starfish is in the top 10 for most undignified NPC death. The remainder of his band clambered down from the tree to surrender on the spot rather than suffer a similar fate. Besides getting a song written for his deed, the unseen bird that flew down, the ranger started a meme. See, he had all his well-crafted and not cheap arrows painted a bright yellowish color for finding missed shots. So from then on, trying to shoot someone or something in the butt became known as a pow-pan mustard shot. Roll for dick. So in my campaign, we came upon a young dragon and being a smart aleck I asked if it was a guy or a girl. My DM made me roll a d100 and if it was a 69, it would be a dude. Alas, it was a girl. From that point on however, I would always roll for the gender of the beats we fought. Never dude. A month or so down the road, I was being super stealth and broke into a constabulary. I wound up in the captain's office after some rather lucky stealth and acrobatics rolls to find that he had some company. 3 lovely ladies working to earn their living. I narrowed my eyes, looked to my DM, and said I'm rolling for dick. He sighs and lets me continue with my nonsense. Roll 1, 38, roll 2, 78, roll 3, 69. The entire party went wild and my DM facepalmed and wove it into the story that the captain swung both ways. And that was the day that I rolled and gave a woman of pleasure a penis. A speech by my kobold character on the value of fame. High level party. The others had asked my kobold character why he insisted on hiding his part in the heroic deeds of the party, going so far to act as the party's butler when in civilization. Fame is not all good. Girenthal, you're well known across the realms for your mighty axe and fierce speed. You can chase down and ravage any foe on the ground. Any foe who knows you are coming will thus prepare flight magic. And Jane, your devotion and powers gained from Pella are spoken of in the streets, yet any foe who would face you knows that taking hostages will bind you. As for me, what am I? To all who know us, I'm merely your minion who tends your horses, prepares your meals and guts the carcasses of monsters you slay. True, when we're in the city you get invited to stay at the mansions of nobles while I'm relegated to the stables, but I sleep far better than you knowing that no villain thinks I'm worth assassinating in my sleep. DnD to catch a predator, undercover halfling. So I will admit, I had only been in 2 to 3 other DnD games before, with the exact same group. About half the table liked me and half didn't, but my character was never very liked in the games. They had played before, had in jokes and history, so I was the odd guy out. I was playing a halfling thief. We had your typical fighter, barbarian, wizard, cleric, etc. We were investigating a town where there were strangely no kids whatsoever. Turns out the kids were disappearing and nobody knew where they were going. Now I thought the solution was simple, but everyone was arguing on exploring the forest, setting up traps and forming a night watch to catch anyone who came back. I try to butt in and explain in character. You guys know I am basically kid-sized, right? In fact, if you put me in a dress of one of the kids it would be almost impossible to tell, especially at night. Well, a lot of the party thought this was such a dumb idea and would never work. But one of the cool guys in the group interjected. You know, that does sort of make sense, and we do need bait to lure it out. So after a long time we had a plan. I was going to wander around at night and lure this kidnapper out, and they would be hiding in some bushes nearby and follow, in the hopes it would lead to the rest of the kids. And if it looked like I was in danger, the party would burst out and rain blows and save me. That was the plan anyway. So I'm standing around doing my little damsel in distress thing, and I am suddenly abducted by this strange skinny man in a costume who bonks me in the head and I go limp. So he takes me into the forest and then to this strange little cottage. He sets me at a table where there are tons of little kids all there and a fat old grandma at one end. The jester goes around and bonks each kid on the head, including me, and I make a will save and pass. I ask a question like an innocent kid, and the jester man looks at me with a curious look, walks over and bonks me on the head again, and I make a will save and pass. I then notice the other kids are just sitting there and not doing anything, so I assume the same zombie-like behavior. The jester and old lady, a witch, engage in a conversation. Basically they have been stealing the kids here and using them as servants and such. So we have the bad guys. Now I am expecting my party to walk in with a plate of cookies and Chris Hansen, but what happened was somehow the party had made such terrible rolls that they had lost me and had gotten lost in the forest. Which is funny, because these people usually pull off this kind of stuff easily. So there I am, sitting, waiting for backup in a very bad spot, because, well, I'm in costume and you can't really hide a bow and arrow or a short sword without blowing cover. The DM at this point is loving this. So the witch apparently is hungry, so DM rolls, and it's not me. Telling the kid across from me on the table to climb up and lay down, then ordering all the kids to pick up their fork and form a line. Warning, if you're squeamish, time to leave. So each kid walks up, takes a chunk of the kid on the table and walks and puts the bite in the witch's mouth. I am running many scenarios in my head as I get closer in line. I can't fight a witch, who was obviously supposed to be the boss encounter, solo, and certainly not with a jester sidekick, and of course the zombie kids in a trance who are likely to take those forks to me. I can't talk or anything, so I can talk my way out of this. I can't fight my way out, and I am a thief. My character would be scared and play along to save her life until A, the party shows up, or B, there is an opening to escape. This is what is important to know. I don't roll good in this game. It's kind of why my character always ends up as the one being a joke. So as I walk up to the kid, now dead, he asks, "So what are you going to do?" I'm going to take my fork, get some food and go feed it to the witch like the other kids. The DM looks surprised, no doubt assuming I was going to try and pull something. He tells me to roll wisp because I am doing something really disgusting and possibly evil. I roll. Natural 20. I go up and feed that witch a bite and get back in line. DM thinks to himself, okay, that was a fluke. So the kids go in file again. Back to me. So what are you going to do? Feed the witch. Make a whisk check. Roll 15. I pass. He looks both surprised that I have managed to pass every wisdom check so far, and that this didn't work. So he makes the line go again and I roll again. I am not going to fight them. Roll 18. Pass. Well, you're going to have to take a penalty to your alignment after this. At this point he says the girl had been completely eaten now. The witch turns to the jester and asks if he is hungry, and with a smile the DM rolls. And he loses the smile and the jester is not hungry. Well, I am still a tad peckish. I think I will have just one more. The witch says. At this point I understand what the DM is trying to do, so instead of having a chance of being the kid eaten and having to do 3 more challenging whisk checks, I do the only thing I can think of. I have my character stand up and announce I have to go to the bathroom, and run past both of them out the front door. Now as a halfling I take a penalty for running, and this jester guy has 60 feet movement per turn. Basically he cuts me off and finally gets me and beats my head with his cane till I fail a wisdom save. And that was basically the end of the session for that night. Frankly, I was proud of my epic rolls and sort of being forced into a corner by the DM and my party's incompetence, especially after they had given me such a hard time before. Well, finals in college came and I was too busy to go back to finish the campaign. But I heard from the cool guy that basically they finally managed to find that one house in the forest eventually the next day. And they saw the jester. When they went into the house they were ambushed by all the kids and the witch. However, a halfling thief came from the shadows and started backstabbing people. Several players died and the campaign was a rather derailed by having almost half the party killed. Which is saying something since we had an 8-person party.